Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Timmy, aka Ace of Cups. I am a tarot reader, an intuitive, and a musician. I'm so happy you're with me today. So today, I'm going to do a little general reading, but instead of pick a pile, it's a little bit different. We are going to be doing a reading for the upcoming week for artists, healers, and activists. So if you clicked on this video, I'm assuming that you are one of those things. So I will go through them each one by one, and I will, as always, put the time codes in the description so that if you want to jump around, you can. If you identify as more than one of those things, right, artists, healers, and activists, feel free to watch the entire video. I hope you get something out of it. Remember that these are, as always, general readings, so take what resonates with you and leave the rest. If you would like a one-on-one private reading with me, that's much more attuned to just you. You can reach out to me, let me know in the comments. You could go to my website. I'll say all that at the end. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so hi Figaro. This is my cat, Figaro, and perhaps he's going to be joining us for the reading, which is great. I really feel like he raises the vibration of the room. So Figaro's with us today. Okay, so we are going to start out with artists. So that can be anybody who's creative. It doesn't have to be like you're a painter. You could want to do film or TV. You could be sculpting things. You could be a musician, right? You could be anything that's creative. So think big. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you know, I do this or this and that's it. So that goes for everything, okay? So I will go through the cards individually. I have them too close to me, and then we'll go from there. So artists. All right, this first card is from the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. It is Authority number 4. That's that deck's version of like the major arcana. Oh, and this placement is who you identify with or who you see yourself as. The next card is from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck, and it is Judgment. And this placement is what do you want? And then the last card is, the placement is how do you get there or how do you accomplish that? This is from the Rider-Waite Centennial deck, and it is 6 of cups. For a second I thought I was seeing something different. Okay. So let's go back. Artists. So who you are, who you identify with. I think this is very, very poignant for you, right? If you identify as someone who's a creative, someone who's an artist, you feel like you are a sense of authority or in charge of whatever your thing is, right? If you're making something, you have to be at the top of your game, and you want people to appreciate what you're doing. Authority in the Oracle deck would be like the Emperor in most major arcana sets, right? So I think this is great. Like, you should identify with a sense of craftsmanship or authority in whatever it is that you're doing, right? That means that you're being true to yourself and you have confidence in what you're doing. It also means that you're organized, right? And that's super important when you are creating something. A lot of the times, if you're an artist or a creator, you're doing things kind of on your own and you are your own boss. So it's super important to be organized, to have a plan, and to like understand how things work. So I love that for you. That is great. All right, our next card, right, is what do you want, right? What is your goal? And the card is Judgment. Okay, that sometimes can seem scary, but it's super not. It is not saying like, oh, you want to be judged by other people, right? It's not, right? Judgment just means, well, it can mean a lot of things, and it can mean whatever it means to you. Maybe you have a definition that like I'm not even thinking about. But to me, I often think about, right, judgment as being like a calling or the call, right? What do you want? You want to be the person that shows people how things are or how they could be through your art, right? Artists change the world. So whatever it is, whether you are making pottery, whether you're making movies, whether you're writing, right? You are using that thing that you do, that thing that you are creating as a call out to society and to the world to say like, either this thing is how it is and maybe it shouldn't be that way, or maybe you're writing or making art about how things you would like them to be, like if everyone could move past the 3D, right? You're saying to people like, this is what things could be, look at this. I think that that's great. That's what artists are supposed to do, right? And then our last card, right? 6 of Cups, okay? And this again is from the Rider-Waite Centennial deck. And this is, how are you going to get there, right? 6 of Cups, cups are all about emotion. They're the element of water. They're about intuition, right? And feeling and emotion. And that's what creativity is all about, right? Is like being in touch with your center and your essence and who you are, and also helping other people get there. And I think that that is exactly what you want to be doing with your art, whatever it is, right? So you're organized, you are in charge, you're an authority on whatever it is that you're creating, right? And you're using that organization and that creativity and that sense of authority to show people the way, and then help them get in touch with who they are, and like at the same time always improving on who you are. I think that that's fantastic, and kind of spot on as someone who's an artist. So I hope that's helpful. Let me pull one more card for you, which is maybe just like, what are some things that you can think about as you go through your next week? Oh, you don't like that, Figaro? For artists, what can you be mindful of in this next week? Oh, okay. All right, and this is the Thoth deck, and I pulled 3 of Discs, which is the same thing as 3 as Pentacles, right? So it's all about earth, it's all about things in the material world. So things that you can think about, right? You can see that it's making the 3 discs are kind of creating a contraption, making a triangle, right? Something that fits together, and you need all 3 of them to work, right? To me, this is wanting a sense of networking and a foundation, like reaching out to people. So is there someone in your life already, or maybe it's not someone you physically know, right? Because I know a lot of us are doing things a lot more online right now, but is there someone or someones that you're in contact with that could help you with your creative projects, or who might have ideas for you that you could share? I think as an artist, it's super easy to kind of go in and think about only like, I'm doing this from start to finish, right? And it's my project. But remember that people need people, right? We all do. And the more connections that we have, and the more friendships we have, and the more networking we do, the bigger our reach is going to be. And for all of us right now, that's super important, right? So maybe think about how you could network, or like use people that you are, not use in a bad way, you know what I mean, but like reach out to people that you know, to create an even bigger footprint for yourself, right? An even bigger reach. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. So if you're someone who identifies as an artist, hopefully that was helpful for you. Figaro, you are like really up in my business right now. Okay, next is healers. Okay, so if you identify as a healer, this is your section. All right, so I will go through each card and then we will talk about it. And if I feel like we need to, we'll draw another card at the end. Okay, so this is the first card is who you are or who you identify as. And you have, this is from the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. It is number 9, Solitude. So these are like the major arcana of that deck. They're a little bit different. We'll go through them again. So the next one is from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. And this is, what do you want or what is your goal? And we have the Fool. Okay. Very first major arcana. Oh, this is interesting. All 3 of these are majors. Okay, so this is from the Rider-Waite Centennial deck. And this third card, the placement is how do you get there, right? How do you get to your goal? And it is another major arcana card, the Star. All right, so let's go back. Who you are or who you identify as, healers, right? Solitude. This would be like the Hermit in other tarot decks, right? In the major arcana, the Hermit, someone who needs a lot of time to yourself, maybe to study, maybe just to recharge. And for a healer, that totally makes sense, right? If you are someone who is always giving of yourself to others, literally physically giving your energy to heal people, but also just like mentally giving your energy, right? That's what you would do as a healer. You're gonna need time to recharge and also time to study and like practice centering yourself and making sure that you are the best version of you, right? I think that totally makes sense. And if that's something that maybe you are not doing currently, I would highly recommend it, right? It's super important to recharge and to just take time for yourself. That's a hard lesson to learn. Like, I'm still learning it. But remember, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't do a great job of taking care of anyone else. So as healers, it's super important for us to really, really recharge, take care of yourself. And there's no one way to do that. Maybe like you like to, binge watch a TV show by yourself. There's no judgment in that. That's great. Maybe you like to meditate. Maybe you like to take long walks. There's all different ways. So I don't want you to think that just because it's like Solitude or the Hermit, that means you just have to sit there and say nothing and do nothing for hours on end and study, right? There's all different ways that you can recharge your battery. So just remember that. Okay, the next card is, what do you want or what is your goal? All right, it's the very first major arcana card, number 0, the Fool, right? And I think that's great. I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Remember, the Fool, or if you don't know, the Fool represents the beginning of something, the beginning of a journey. And as a healer, this totally makes sense. What do you want to do for your clients or for your friends or your family, right? You don't have to be healing professionally. Maybe you just are that type of person. But you want to be able to bring people back to this sense of newness and freshness, be able to let them shed all of their skin and baggage, right? And start fresh with an amazing attitude and like a positive attitude. The Fool's a great thing. There's always downsides to everything, right? Newness also maybe means being a little naive or being a little quick to rush into things, but it also is someone who's brand new and like ready to experience the world. And I think that's amazing. But remember, the only way you're going to get there is if you practice that idea of self-care and renewing yourself, which along the same lines is, right, this is the placement of how are you going to get there? The Star, right? The Star is all about taking a step back, really recognizing things for what they are, basking in like the macro level of things, right? It's super important as healers to understand the big picture stuff, right? and we pass that on to people that we're helping to heal. And it also goes back to the same thing of like taking time to yourself, taking care of yourself, right? Notice she is alone in the star card, right? Using water to refresh herself, literally bathing in the stars and the moonlight, and cleansing herself. So remember, yes, you're a healer. Yes, you're here to help other people, and renew and refresh them so that they can start from the beginning with a new attitude. But you cannot forget to do that for yourself also, right? So taking care of yourself and helping other people take care of themselves, right? Creating good habits. That's how you're gonna get there. That's so great. Yeah, I am feeling cold. Let's do another one for you. So this is from the Thoth deck. And it's just gonna be like, what can you think about over the next week or so? Like, what can you work on? What can a goal be for healers? What can my healers think about? Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. All right. So, I'm getting a lot. If you're watching the whole video, you'll see I'm getting a lot of discs from this deck today. So this is the 10 of discs. In other decks, it might be called the 10 of Pentacles, okay? And it says wealth on it, but, right, wealth can mean so many different things. When I think about pentacles, or in this case, discs, I think about the earth, material things, the 3D physical realm. So it doesn't necessarily have to do with money exchanging in any way. It could. A lot of the times you'll see people read this card as like, oh, you're gonna come into a bunch of money, and maybe you are, and that would be great. But think bigger picture than that. I think you're good at that as a healer, right? Thinking big picture on things. So think about more like abundance in the physical realm, right? When we're talking about resetting and recharging or taking care of yourself, like in those other cards, what are some things that are more day-to-day, more physical, moving your body, taking care of your body, maybe like indulging in something that you like, right? I think you spend a lot of time maybe in that like overarching scale of things that sometimes you forget that we're on this earth for a purpose too, right? So you need to be using your physical body, and appreciating and indulging in those things in the physical. So maybe take a step back from all that like macro level mental stuff you're doing and just like indulge in the present. Grab some food that you really, really love and enjoy it, and don't feel guilty about it, because, right, that's what we're here for. Okay, healers, I hope that was helpful. Some things to think about for the week. All right, our last group is activists, right? So if you identify as an activist, this one is for you. We will go through, again, all of the cards individually, and then if I feel so called, I will pull an additional card for you. All right. So again, if you've been watching, you already know this, but I'm going to say it in case you're skipping around. This first card is who you identify with, or who you think you are, right? Or who you are. It is from the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, right? And it is the universe. This would be like the world in a traditional tarot deck, right? And we'll go back to it, so don't worry. All right, the next one is what is your goal? What would you like to accomplish? This is from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. It's one of my favorites. It is 3 of Cups, okay? 3 of Cups. And then the last one, is how are you going to get there, right? How are you going to reach that goal, okay? And it is from the Rider-Waite, or Smith-Waite. I keep saying Rider-Waite. It is the Smith-Waite Centennial deck. And it is the Devil, okay? So let's go through them, right, Figaro? Okay, so who are you? The universe, right? Again, this is like the World in a traditional tarot deck. It is the final card, the number 21, but the 22nd card in the major arcana. And it's all about coming full circle, completing something. I think you are the type of person that really feels called to create something new, right? To in some cases, replace what is old with something new, right? Like maybe some people go halfway, but not you. You go the full distance, and you can see the big picture ideas of like how you think that things should be or what the right thing is to do. Like you feel it in yourself, and that's amazing, because I think a lot of people have trouble really knowing what the right thing is or what the best thing is, but you really have strong convictions, and that's amazing. And that sense in you, you can instill it in other people and inspire them to do the same. So that's a really great gift and a good asset to have. Okay, next card is, right, what do you want? What are you trying to do, right? What's your goal? And it is the Three of Cups. You see those three little birds sitting there, like watching, I don't know if it's the sun rising. I think it's the sun rising or the sun setting maybe, but it's all about, right? Cups are all about emotion and intuition and feelings and like sharing that with people. So I think sometimes maybe you feel like you can get a bad rap because you're always trying to like push people to be better. But I can see that the reason you do that is because ultimately what you want is for everyone to have what they need and for everyone to be equal and to be getting along. And you're doing all this great work that you're doing because your goal is this, harmony and peace and love, and that's amazing, right? That's a great goal to have. And I think you can really accomplish that, right? If you just keep working. And I think for you, it's super important to keep this goal in perspective, because I think sometimes maybe you can feel like you're alienating people or that you're alienated from other people, but just don't forget what your end goal is, because it's beautiful. I love it. All right. And then the final card is, right, how are you going to get there? How are you going to reach that goal? Again, this is the Smith-Waite Centennial deck, and it is one of my favorite cards that often gets a negative response from people, but it totally shouldn't. It is the Devil card, right? And the devil doesn't mean like, oh, you're doing something bad or you're being tempted into something. It could, right? Any card could really mean anything that you think it does or could. But I think when I think of the devil, I really think about patterns and breaking patterns. And in this case, like usually I think about it as internal, and maybe it is. Maybe you can, if you're thinking about it in that way, maybe you can think of like how you could go about your work a little bit differently, like break out of the mold. If you're finding that you're doing something over and over and over again, like trying to make a change, but it's not working, maybe take a step back and think, okay, how do I normally approach this sort of thing? And how could I maybe do it differently to like break out of the mold that might give me a better response from people? So it's about changing and making sure we're not stuck in the same place all the time. This could also be more like macro level of other people, their beliefs, right? Their repeating patterns, and how you are always with your goal in mind, trying to get people to see their patterns of behavior, how it affects other people, why they're actually doing it, and if that's like the right thing to do, right? So devil is always about like patterns of behavior, should you change them, and like how do you go about doing that? But I always say the first step to like changing a pattern or behavior, right, is always just noticing that there is one. So I think this is super duper important for you. Okay, let's do one more card from the Thoth deck. All right. Oh, here we go. All right, and for you, I have pulled Ace of Wands, right? So aces are always about new things, new beginnings, and wands are all about fire, magic, manifestation. So this is something for you to be like thinking about or focusing on this week. I think for all three groups today, right? Artists, healers, and activists, right? It can be very easy to get caught up in like, what do I do? There's so many things on my plate, but this will give you one place to like put a little bit of focus. So Ace of Wands, right? Is there something like burning within you? Is there one particular project or one particular thing that you really speaks to you personally, or is really like lighting a fire under you? Think about it, make a list, see what is really like speaking to you right now. I think it'll be very clearly illuminated if you do that, and that is the project to start on, and that's the place to start, right? Without focus, right, you can never accomplish all of these things that you're working towards, right? So this will give you a place to put your attention, and we all know that once we like set our attention on something and then accomplish that thing, it can be like a fire under us to keep moving and keep okay, now the next thing, now the next thing, now the next thing. And I really get the sense that for you, right, that work is never ever finished. So I wish you luck. All right, thank you so much, artists, healers, and activists who were watching this video. I hope that some of this resonates for you. Remember, they are general readings, so take what resonates for you and leave the rest. If you would like a private reading with me, let me know in the comments below. You can direct message me. You can also book an appointment with me on my website, aceofcupsreadings.com. I would love to talk to you and have a reading with you. Let me know how this was for you. I would love to hear from you and see like what you like, or if there's any requests you have for future videos. I would love to do whatever you're looking for. I hope, well, from Figaro and myself to all of you, have an amazing week, and we will see you soon. Bye guys.